Chairs are like jewellery for your house.
Got the walker in mind while you've been crafting.
Yeah, very much so. So my thing has always been to make a Pacific chair, because every other culture has its chairs. You know. And the structure, that was the thing that fascinated me, that the structure that I needed for the chairs, which they'd been using on the waka, was all done without metal. That would seem to be quite a critical component. Once you've got metal fastenings, you don't need to be nearly so elaborate in your structures. Yeah, I like colour. Scorching the timber black first so you can just see there. But then putting the kokowai over the black, looking for a nice finish that can be done quickly. And the oxide just, lasts forever. And with oil, if you want an oil finish.
Right.
Or I use water-based polyurethane,
water-based
flooring
polyurethane,
polyurethane.
easy.
Do lots plus you weave. It's great.
It's just really nice having it all open and it's always fresh in here. He never tidies things up, so I feel ashamed for him, but he doesn't worry about it, so I'm not going to go in there and sweep the floor for him.
At the moment, it's mostly just full of junk.
Or needed junk though.
Clear the decks a bit. One thing I notice in the YouTube videos is that everybody has beautiful clear workshops.
Kit, when did you first fall in love with wood?
My father was the pharmacist at Greymouth Hospital, and the pharmacist was in charge of getting all of the glassware and medications that were all imported in packing cases. His mate in the clearing up department would come around with his truck and dump off a whole pile of lengths of 6x1 like this, and I started building fantastic material.
Yeah, isn't this an amazing setup in that you have everything available?
And the way you go, and yeah, it does make a big difference.
And the special thing about your chairs is that every piece is hand worked. It's had, machining, but there is a lot of hand finishing.
There's a lot of hand finishing. You can actually form it into something which people recognise, so rather than just being a smooth finish which any machine could make, by working it slightly more you can put a shape into it and call it carving. This is after about 30 years of development.
Yeah,
Some of the early ones were
classic
shocking.
chair. It'd be a good drawer to be a carver too.
Pretty much. Because I can sit there and doodle any amount of doodling you can do. Yeah. The end, you see each end of the table. Those are pretty much straight European, early 20th century sort of chair forms. The chair was developed in China and it came back through Europe maybe in the 16th, 17th century. And it was pointed out to me about the time I made those, about how the old people built the very large voyaging waka that they used to come down from the islands. Pretty intense to build a boat and sail a couple of thousand k's, to a different country. That's pretty heavy duty.
Yeah. So you've done a few marae projects.
See, we just painted these rafters.
And when did you decide that you were going to specialise in chairs?
I probably made a couple of bar stools in the early days of the Trust Workshop, and immediately sold them and got an order for 6 more. There's a lot of stories about how the various waka came to be built. You know, those stories are very carefully maintained, and you don't get the feeling anywhere in any of those stories that it was difficult. They just built them. One of the reasons, like why we built this place in mud, was to find out what that was really like, not just to assume what mud was like. The shower, the most difficult thing I ever made by a long shot. Oh my God, I just about blew a fuse on that one. Liz had some very definite opinions about what the shower should be like. Entirely put me off having anything to do with tiles for the rest of my life. Habitually now just sit on them and think, how does that fit? People who would not buy a carving would buy a chair with a carved back, you know, so it's sort of a self-displaying, it's a self-framing sculpture. I'm a bit surprised that more people haven't spotted that.